Hey, welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're jumping straight into something that really seems to trip up a lot of people learning English.
Mm.
You know the words, you totally understand when people are talking to you, but then when it's your turn, you just freeze.
That moment, yeah, where your brain just kind of stalls.
Yeah.
Your heart starts pounding. Maybe you manage and poof, confidence gone. It's super common.
It really is. And for this deep dive, we've looked at some really great source material.
Yeah, some good insights.
Insights from language learning folks who really get into the why of this speaking anxiety, and also some real world examples. You know, English, like people actually use it day to day.
Right. So our mission today really is to understand why that freeze happens, but maybe more importantly, to uncover some simple, actionable things you can do.
Things you can do like right now.
Exactly. To start building up that speaking confidence and, feel okay using real, natural English in just normal situations.
Okay, let's start with that feeling then, that freeze. You know it, right? You understand the question. You even know what you want to say. The words are like right there.
Trapped.
Yeah, trapped in your head, and nothing comes out. And maybe just like silence. The sources really nailed describing that feeling, that kind of disconnect, knowing it versus using it when you're on the spot.
And that negative self-talk kicks in almost instantly, doesn't it? What's wrong with me? I know this stuff. Am I just terrible at languages?
Right.
But here's a key thing from the sources. This freeze, it's usually not about how much English you actually know, your vocabulary, your grammar. That's probably not the main problem.
Right. You're not broken. That's a big takeaway. The real issue, the material suggests, is often more about your emotional state at that moment.
Yeah, feeling under pressure, like you're in the spotlight. Your brain can kind of read that as a threat.
Not like a lion threat, but...
No, a social threat, And that fight, flight, or freeze thing kicks in. Speaking just feels impossible right then.
So the part of your brain that knows the grammar rules just gets sidelined.
Pretty much. It gets overridden by that stress response. And the sources. They point to some specific fears that often trigger this whole thing.
Okay, like what are the big ones?
Well, the fear of making mistakes is huge.
Oh, yeah. Sounding silly, saying the wrong thing, mispronouncing something. It feels really vulnerable.
Definitely. And right alongside that is the fear of judgment. Even if the other person is lovely, you might worry, are they noticing my accent? Did I use the wrong word? Do they think I'm stupid? The fear alone can just shut you down.
And the third thing the sources really hit on is overthinking.
Yeah.
You're trying to manage everything at once.
Yeah.
Grammar, finding the perfect word, sentence structure, and trying to listen.
Yeah.
Like juggling flaming torches while riding a unicycle.
Exactly. You just get overwhelmed, and the easiest thing to do then is nothing. Silence.
Which feels awful.
It does. But what's interesting is how the sources suggest sort of looking inward, asking yourself, okay, what exactly am I afraid of here?
Like specifically.
Yeah. Is it really forgetting words? Is it being laughed at? Not knowing how to phrase something? Just naming that specific fear, the sources say that's the first step. It makes it less big and scary, less abstract.
Naming it gives you power over it, okay? So that's the why. We get why we freeze. How do we get past it? How do we build that confidence?
Well, the sources are really clear on this. Confidence isn't magic. You're not born with it or without it. It's a skill.
Like riding a bike.
Kind of, yeah. Or building muscle. It takes practice, consistent practice. You actually have to practice being confident.
Okay, how? The material gives specifics, right?
It does. 5 simple habits, things you can actually do that help you train that confidence muscle in, like low stress ways, preparing you for the real thing.
All right, habit number 1.
Mirror talk.
Talking to myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds a little weird.
It can feel weird at first, but the sources explain why it works. You take away the external pressure. There's no one else there judging you or who you think is judging you.
Just you.
Just you. You get to see your expressions, hear your own voice, speaking English, get comfortable with that sound, that feeling. The sources suggest starting really simple, like literally say, good morning, it's a busy day today, I feel a bit nervous, but I'm going to try my best.
Just saying it out loud.
Just getting the words flowing.
Okay. Habit 2.
This one's a biggie, according to the sources. Learn chunks, not words.
Chunks, like word groups.
Exactly. Instead of just memorizing single words, focus on useful phrases or groups of words that often go together naturally. These chunks.
So instead of learning the word agree, learn the chunk. That sounds good to me.
Spot on. Or instead of just repeat learn, can you repeat that, please? Or I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Okay.
These are like pre-made building blocks for your brain. The sources say using chunks makes you sound more natural, and it reduces the mental effort because you're grabbing a whole unit, not trying to piece a sentence together word by word under pressure.
That makes a ton of sense.
Okay.
Habit number 3.
Low pressure practice. Basically finding super safe spaces to just talk.
Safe spaces like?
The sources suggest talking to your pet.
Okay, my dog doesn't judge my grammar.
Exactly. Or talk to your plants, talk to your phone, use a voice assistant. Hey Siri, what's the weather? Then maybe try saying the forecast back or making a comment about it.
So it's about getting your mouth and brain working together without the stress.
Precisely. Training that connection without the anxiety of a real audience.
Got it. Number 4.
This one links your body and your voice. Smile, breathe, move.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, the sources point out that how you hold your body affects your nerves and even how your voice sounds. Smiling actually can make your tone warmer, more approachable. Taking a few deep, slow breaths right before you speak really helps calm those jitters. And using your hands, a little bit of movement can actually help activate your brain, make recall a bit easier.
Interesting. So like a little physical prep.
Yeah. They even suggest an affirmation you can try while doing it. Smile, breathe, maybe move your hands gently and say to yourself, I am learning, I am growing, I am brave.
I actually felt a little better just thinking that. Okay, final habit, number 5.
Small wins daily. This is all about momentum.
Tiny goals.
Tiny, achievable speaking goals. Seriously small. Like, say just one sentence in English out loud each morning. Maybe it's, today I will try something new. Or even just, I'm proud of myself for listening to this deep dive.
Wow, that's small.
That's small. Because according to the sources, every single time you speak, even that tiny bit, it chips away at the fear and builds a little bit of confidence. Consistency is the key.
So each small win builds on the last one.
Exactly. And that momentum is what really builds confidence over time. The affirmation for this one is simple too. I'm learning and I'm proud.
That whole approach really changes how you think about fluency, doesn't it? It's not this huge mountain you have to climb in one go.
Not at all. It's about those small, brave moments. And the sources even say, speaking while you're nervous. That's not failure, that's courage.
That's a much kinder perspective.
Definitely. Okay, so you're doing these habits, building that internal confidence muscle. How does this translate to, actual conversations?
Right, because that's the goal. This is where we look at the examples from the sources about natural, everyday English.
Moving past the textbook stuff to how people really talk.
Yeah. And the sources highlight some key phrases, these power phrases they call them, that pop up all the time in real chat. Things native speakers use constantly, but maybe aren't in chapter 1 of your textbook.
Right, like asking someone for coffee. Textbook might teach, would you like to get a coffee?
Sounds a bit formal.
It can, but the sources show how common it is to just say, want to grab a coffee. Much more casual.
Yeah, much more relaxed.
Yeah.
Or agreeing instead of always, I agree. What else?
Things like, sounds good to me, or even just shortening it to sounds good. Really common, really natural,
Okay.
And a super useful one. I'm down.
I'm down, meaning?
Meaning, yes, I want to do that, or I'm interested. It's friendly, casual. Pizza tonight? Yeah, I'm down.
Got it. Simple. What about managing plans?
Let me check my schedule. A really polite way to respond if you're not sure if you're free, without sounding too stiff.
Useful.
And the classic, catch up.
Not like catching a ball.
No. It means reconnecting, talking about what's been going on since you last saw each other. Hey, it's been ages. We should catch up soon.
Okay, these are like conversational shortcuts almost.
They really are. Social glue, like you said. So the sources then use these kinds of phrases in a few typical scenarios to show how it all flows. Maybe we can just highlight some moments.
Yeah, good idea. Let's start with the coffee shop scene. Beyond just ordering, specifying oat milk or whatever, or that relatable moment of choosing between a muffin and a croissant, the source mentions.
The eternal struggle.
Right. But look at the small talk. The sources show people using phrases like work being crazy lately or mentioning tight deadlines. It's not deep, just light connection.
Finding common ground. And notice how easily they shift to suggesting something fun. Someone mentions needing a break, and the immediate replies are like, sounds amazing, and then I'm down for that.
That combo enthusiastic reaction, then confirming interest.
Exactly. The sources point that out as very natural. It keeps the conversation moving.
Okay, what about making weekend plans? That scenario.
Yeah, look at the process there. It often starts with, let me check my schedule. Then someone throws out an idea like, the new park with food trucks and music.
And the reaction isn't formal. It's
enthusiastic. Sounds fun. Or, ooh, I'm into that. And then confirming is simple. Yeah, I'm down. Or, count me in.
nice and clear, but casual.
Totally. The source highlights how clear yet informal these agreements are. And I liked the detail about wanting a picnic vibe without the pressure. People describe feelings, not just activities.
And then they just naturally start figuring out logistics, right?
Right.
Can you bring a blanket? I'll grab snacks. Simple requests, collaborative.
Yep. Now, the office talk scenario. This one, the sources show, is rich with examples of workplace rapport.
Shared suffering, maybe.
Huh. Sometimes. Like complaining about a meeting that could have been an email. Or ironically using terms like corporate jargon or synergy.
And the absolute need for coffee, only thing keeping me functional. So relatable.
It really is. The sources also show how colleagues offer help casually, not a formal request, but like, hey, can I glance at that report layout?
Or admitting uncertainty like, I'm second-guessing the flow here. It's okay not to be sure.
Exactly. And the chat about someone switching teams for less spreadsheet drama or wanting internal mobility so they don't feel stuck.
Yeah.
It shows how work talk mixes official terms with really personal feeling-based language. It's not all business speak. It's complaining, sharing tips like the camera trick for long calls.
We've all thought about that.
And then planning to follow up is often just, let's catch up later, or I'll Slack you. Quick, informal.
Okay, so putting it all together then, the confidence habits we talked about first, they deal with the internal stuff.
Right. They help you tackle the fear, the overthinking, the things that make you freeze up inside. They build that foundation.
And then learning these real-life phrases, seeing how they work in these everyday scenes, that gives you the tools.
Exactly. The practical language tools and the context, the opportunities to actually use that confidence you're building. The two parts really support each other.
Makes sense. So, to recap this deep dive, we've explored why speaking English can feel so daunting, even when you know the vocabulary. We identified those key fears, mistakes, judgment, overthinking.
And we looked at 5 simple, practical habits the sources recommend for building confidence: mirror talk, learning chunks, low-pressure practice, the smile, breathe, move technique, and getting those small wins daily.
Plus, we dipped into real English in action, those useful power phrases, and how they sound in normal conversations like grabbing coffee, making plans, or just chatting at work.
The main thing to remember, really, is that this is a journey. Building fluency, building confidence, it's a process.
Not instant.
Definitely not. But every single time you try, even if it's just practicing one sentence alone, you are making progress, you're growing, and you're absolutely not alone in finding this tricky, a common hurdle, but it's one you can get over.
Absolutely. So here's something to think about as you finish listening. If speaking even one simple sentence, maybe imperfectly, is an act of courage, how many of those small, brave moments can you create for yourself today?
What's one tiny speaking win you could aim for, maybe right now?